Let's send this over to Bryson 10, fellas. Let's take it away. Let's hope for a good one, right? Let's hope for one.
It should be a good one. There's a lot of people questioning this game as we go forward, and for very good reason. Yesterday, the boogeyman of the CDL, FaZe Atlanta, looked bad. They got put to the sword in pretty dramatic fashion by Rokkr, and the question does remain, are they FaZe up or are they FaZe down? Ton, LAG will be the ones to test them today.
They will be the ones to test them, but I kind of feel sorry for LAG in this scenario. I've just, in my mind, I've got Cellium coming out with a 2.6 KD or something like that today. It just feels like it has to be that kind of bounce back series for them. I think if FaZe are going to come out here and scrape a win by LAG, that will not give them a lot of confidence heading into the major. For them, I'd love to see them. Well, I mean, LAG fans maybe question it, but I would love to see them come out here and just go for it like crazy. I want to see them come out and have a good game. We need to see a confident display, because the last two times we have seen them, it has been anything but confident, Brycey, and they need to turn it around. And well, what better way to turn it around than on Bocage? For LAG on this one, I'm kind of questioning it. They get rid of Gavutu instead, but I mean, they seen FaZe yesterday not look too hot on it, so maybe they thought, well, if Rokkr can do it, we can do it too, maybe, but probably not. Let's see. Atlanta FaZe, can you step it up today?
Well, we'll have to find out what FaZe is turning up as we jump straight into this first hard point, of course. More about positioning than hitting the slaying, but FaZe have something to prove, and there is an awful lot at stake in this game, realistically. A lot of people will be calling for FaZe to do something dramatic and change if they don't do anything here in a Major 3, and with LAG, their slow and inexorable climb into being a better and better team, including the fact that something we didn't talk about is that when you look at this schedule, maybe at the start of the week or a couple of weeks ago, no one really would have expected LAG to pull points out of this game. Now it's looking much more likely.
It's looking more likely, but I would still on the side of caution to anybody who's putting any money where their mouth is on that one. But Cellium kicking things off like that is never going to give any hope towards the LAG fans, who will eventually find that kill. Cellium off the top rope to find the initial. Nicely done, but the rotation is going to be there for LAG. Not too bad of a start for them. But yeah, people will talk about blowing it up for the side of FaZe and things like that. But honestly, for me, we know how good these guys are. They have problems right now. They need to fix them. And I believe they just needed maybe a little bit of a kick up the butt. And right now they're getting it from a lot of teams. Not so much from LAG, though. The rotation has been just about broken by the side of FaZe. Arseny's yet to get on the board, but the Tiny Terrors and Cellium around them doing the job.
This is the big question. Is there a way back for FaZe? Was yesterday just a one-off, or is something broken in the FaZe camp at the moment? Doing a pretty good job. They're actually finding this from the wrong side of P2, and they've been doing it most of the way through, and the question is just how locked in are they going to be today? Well, it's looking like a full wipe. Only Arseny's going to get one, but eventually taken down, and the points will flip to LAG, and now Hook, he is going to be trying to flip these spawns as well.
Atlanta FaZe is very cautious on the retake over towards P2 here. They only had one player pushing all the way through. Eventually, they will grab that final 10 seconds, but that will now give them some room to extend out over the map. Look how slow FaZe are playing here. They need to get going. Maybe they know that there will be some players positioned in their map. Either way, FaZe very slow to answer the call of LAG getting themselves set up. So they're picking their way through the map here. I think they're overly cautious of not trying to give away too much, but with all this time that LAG are getting for free, you're giving up plenty.
Well, they're still holding them off here at the moment. BT eventually gets two, but Slasher says thank you for the trade. Walks that one in at the moment. Atlanta FaZe really haven't made much progress into this hill. Eventually taking it down, but Gunnis and Asima here as well. And I've got to say this, LAG at the moment look like they might be in the better team. They are winning the slaying battles. They've hit the rotations better. Atlanta FaZe, this map was their bread and butter, and that has turned sour very quickly.
Just a really good hold by LAG, but nothing really coming to the forefront for the side of FaZe. That raw ability we know they have gets them out of certain situations time and time again, but on top of that, we know how good their teamwork has been. But it just feels like something is a miss at this moment in time. But I think that's at the same time, a hell of a gunfight to win against Cellium. I think at the same time, you know, we talk about the issues that they have right now, and we know how good this squad is. We just feel like the fix is going to come at some point, but I mean, when is it going to start coming? Right now, you're 30 points behind a team who are 2-8 on Bocage. It's a long way to go yet, Brycey, but LAG are schooling FaZe here on Bocage.
Well, you can already see Asima and Hookah locked in. We're seeing them like they were in championship form and trying to get around that one and eventually do some damage, and FaZe will spawn towards back 10. Hugo on a spy spree as well. He's 14 and 6. Absolute laser focus. And that is spelling disaster for a team like Atlanta FaZe who want to bounce back into this one very, very quickly. It's not looking good.
It's really not. This is another rotation just going to go over towards the side of LAG. I think the thing is, for me, it's just the breaks just have not come through for FaZe. It's 2 decent rotations for LAG. Yeah, okay, they get the spawns, they get the rotation over towards P3. Great. They get the spawns and rotation over towards P4. Great. But how are they able to lock in so much time? It is Bakaj. Just contest it. Just get in the point and get mixing. You are Atlanta FaZe. You can pick up points. Cellium 5 and 10. Arseny's 4 and 12. What is going on?
Well, they're going to have to find some way back into this game. At the moment, it's a big chow by Cell. They're going to lock down River. A huge hold here will help them out massively. And they are going to need it. You can already see the pressure coming in from LAG. They're trying to get a bit of a pinch going on. They don't really have the numbers or positioning to try and make anything of it, but Asim gets one. Will eventually be traded back, and now they take L control, and they're trying to get through. Slash is going to challenge, and Hill doesn't need to. Gunless guns him down. 20 seconds potentially on the board here for LAG. And as we go into the second set of rotations, it is looking very positive for them.
It's looking brilliant for them. About a 40-point lead, of course, that has been reduced for them. Decent little attempted things over towards the boat side. But for me, I don't know. As we go into the second rotation, maybe something we will discuss as the series goes on just a little bit more. But it just feels like, you know, that arrogance, that cockiness that FaZe had, obviously last year dominating the majority. Is that gone somewhat? And is that maybe affecting their gameplay? It just feels like they're second guessing themselves. When you look at them on the minimap, nothing seems fast, and it's Bakaj and it's FaZe, and you would expect it to be everything that is fast. I don't know. It's a peculiar thing. Either way, LAG, the one rotation will lead by around 40. Looking at this rotation over towards P2, they have that one locked in. Great game out of Hook so far at 19 and 9. That 19-10 as he will go down, but LAG is showing up here.
Oh. They certainly are, and you also remember Atlanta FaZe just had that P2 spawn taken away from them. Not really able to milk P1, not able to get out of grannies. They are not winning the slaying battles. They do not have the rotation, and they're down in points. It's bleak across the board. They need some magic. LAG do not want to give it to them. They're taking a little bit of dominance here in mid-map, but Hugh with a 2-piece shuts it down. Having the game of his life at the moment on Bakaj.
Ali said she wanted to see more from him, and well, she's getting it. 22 and 12, Slash it. Locking things down here as well. Arsenis is starting to wake up just that little bit, but at this moment in time, it's going to be too little too late. When it comes down to Bakaj, LAG used to have a standard Bakaj map from here on out. You should be good. That lead extending. Asim already behind.
This is a breakdown.
It is a complete breakdown. They can't seem to get anything right. Where is Cellium looking right now? Are the comms there?
I don't know what is going on.
Are they talking to each other? What is going on? BZ and Co, you need to switch on very, very quickly, or you're in danger of getting ran over. This time around, it looks like they are going to have a rotation over towards P3. They need to lock in some decent time here, Brycey, just for confidence more than anything. But the thing is, Hook is already beaming. He already has the glide bomb. It's going to be an issue on this rotation, and Asim is already in your face.
Well, I tell you what, it is time for us to peek behind the curtain. Let's go for a listening with Atlanta FaZe.
Good job. Top house, nice. Street dead. We're stun Rivers. Right. Low field, he's just looking for Chris.
I'm holding time.
Nice, good job.
Come on, help me play around time.
I'm
just staying down right now, okay? I'm just staying down on time. I don't have anything for you guys. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm front door. One shot.
I'll just shoot.
Alright, play you.
He's going back door. He's going back window.
Yeah.
That's on street. That's on street.
Good
time in the corner. Back. Nice, guys. Back right.
I'm one shot. Hold that.
Nice. Actually, good shit.
I'm one shot.
Time. Look at my tools.
Help. Any of your tools?
Front one shot.
Tools.
One more shot. I see front. Sasha, I got time. Sasha was front. He was front somewhere, okay?
I don't see my stun.
Give me sitting corner, yeah.
My stun one's here. Stun. Back half all dead.
Alright. Slow down. Let's get right.
In the back. Ace in the back. Ace in the back.
Go right.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm right.
I'm just testing.
Yo, could jump on top. Dead.
Bottom, front door. Front door dead.
Let's do that.
One more charger. Dead.
Nice. Good time.
Back door.
Yo, I got Treater.
Yo, Ivy back door now. I'm holding back door. Pinch front door, guys. Oh no, I got there.
Next one.
He went secret.
There's another back here on me.
Secret.
Wow, a little bit of fire in the comms for FaZe. A little bit of fire back on Bakaj, but will it be enough at this point? aBeZy getting loud when they are going to lose that hill time as well. It might be too late, Ton.
And I love the energy coming from aBeZy. I think he's just trying to get the rest of his teammates G'd up. I mean, it didn't sound like a team who was down by that amount. It didn't sound like the team we presumed wasn't coming, or just seemed despondent throughout the first, a few minutes of Bakaj here. Right now, though, there's still 50 points behind. There's still an issue. Is this rotation now looking like it's going to be LAG's once again? BZ, the only one, over towards the tower, is going to get taken down. FC will find one and a second as well. 28 and 22. Cooks kind of slipped the radar since the Cook's been having a hell of a game. The Seam doing what he needs to do, just causing chaos in the ranks. This is really nice from LAG so far. Around 35 points away from beating FaZe on Bakaj. That will be something.
Well, the lock is in. LAG could end this right here and right now, and they're trying to do it. Cellium and Arsenal's though do eventually find two. Slashing, holding on. Gunless in the hill, but will go down as Arsenal's gets taken down by a team nade, and it's disastrous for FaZe. More pressure coming through as aBeZy jumps into gunfire. Gunless guns another one.
They can win it here. They got out. They got out.
There. What are you doing? You're back on the hill. You're winning, but don't ever get off the hill. And FaZe will be trying to find a way back into this game, but for the second day in a row, Bakaj has not been theirs, and they are getting gunned and destroyed by a team that most people wouldn't have taken to beat them. LAG looking like different gravy on the map today.
3 seconds to go. Here comes the glide bomb, and that might just be that. LAG inside the point. That is surely going to be game. My. Well played, LAG. But my goodness me, FaZe. Just so many free points. And no, because you can't let it happen. You can't. There shouldn't be that many free points. There was a couple of rotations. LAG locked in. All credit to them. But you've got to get in there. You got to do something about it. The highlight for me was from 2 to 3. FaZe are taking so long. It feels like that confidence, that swagger that we talk about when we sort of synonymize something with FaZe. It does not seem to be there right now. LAG, though, very, very well played.
Yeah,
great lockdowns. The rotations were fantastic. The holds were brilliant, but you expect a lot more than that out of FaZe.
Well, we'll leave that out of FaZe for 1 second. I want to talk about LAG. Huke is locked in.
Oh, yeah, man.
Absolute phenom on the map, and it probably contributed to Atlanta FaZe feeling a little bit rusty. Obviously, yesterday, dramatic scenes for them. The community was, I wouldn't say outraged, but very passionate, because they are basically the villains of the CDL, one of the most dominant teams in CDL history. And then they come into LAG, who are looking hot, who are slaying hard. Whatever confidence or pep talk they may have had before the game today has flown out the window under the guns of the Gorillas. They simply just look like the better squad. You cannot convince me that this is the same FaZe we've been talking about in the power rankings. Every single power rankings I have ever seen has had FaZe top 2. Now, well, they're falling about as fast as we've ever seen anybody.
I mean, we can give credit over towards LAG, absolutely, and we should do. But this is the kind of series that you would expect FaZe to be coming out and winning fairly comfortably. The FaZe of, well, do you want to say old? I mean, it's not necessarily like it wasn't a few weeks ago. They look okay, you know, they haven't necessarily looked like the FaZe of last year by any stretch of the imagination. But let's not get it twisted. That wasn't close. That was not close. That's a 100-point game on Bakaj against LAG, who are now 3-8 on that map.
If we're going to be honest about this series, and I think we have to be, LAG have looked better. They have. We were asking the question when Gunners come back in, a little bit of an adjustment period, but they started to get that teamwork clicking again. The reason people are so down on FaZe at the moment is yesterday's loss was probably the biggest they've ever suffered as a 4. And let's face it, everybody expects them to beat everybody but Optic. And now they are losing games left, right, and center. Something looks rotten in the FaZe camp. But with more maps to go, can this team regain the demonhood? Can they find their way back into this? Case in point, Cellium. A lot of people were talking about him being one of the best players in the CDL this year. Underwhelming yesterday, underwhelming so far today. What is going on?
I would just like to point out he still has the best overall KD in the CDL, by the way. Like
Wow,
even
not if it
after
carries on.
No, not for very long. I mean, recently it hasn't been going well, and I think that has to be something that they're going to have to deduct in the coaching staff. Crowd and the boys are going to have to look at it and have to figure out what's going on. You know, for us, we can always say, like, in that instance, with slow rotations coming on through, seems like there is no speed about their game at times. That
I want to talk about LAG.
Yeah, okay, I think that's fair. Go on, go ahead. I think, you know,
let's be
Hook had a
perfectly clear
hell of a game there.
about LAG, and I've told this narrative a few times before. Questions were asked when they went from 0 to hero with a sub at Major 2. Can they continue it? Well, Gunless back in the squad, and he's gunning. Huke is locked in. Asim looks fantastic, and Slasher is holding everywhere they need him to. I don't want to undersell them because I know the big story is FaZe. I know it is, but remember, these are our Major 2 champions, and they needed to find some form. Champs is not locked in for them yet. There is a lot of points left on the table. Taking these points against FaZe and having a good Major 3 will lock it for them. This is points we didn't expect them to get. And let's face it, if they are looking like a top team, like we can expect them to, well, Major 3 is going to be all the more entertaining for it.
It will make it very entertaining. LAG definitely stepping up to the plate here, but here's the top performers in Search and Destroy. And yes, okay, Cellium may not have had the best of starts to this series, a good series yesterday, or even the week before that, but a 1.24 still overall in Search and Destroy is something you cannot underestimate. But heading into a Desert Siege, though, so one of these players who plays the outside B, you're going to be looking for Gunless to try and get something done with that sniper over towards that B side. That's where the counter action is going to be there for Cellium, but Slasher the 1.15 as well. He'll also enjoy himself on Desert Siege, of no doubt. Records for these two teams on these maps are positive for the both, but LAG only losing it 2 times, FaZe 6-4, LAG 5-2. It's a good map for LAG, this. If they can find a 2-0 lead here, Brycey, with the way that FaZe have been playing, with the despondency on their faces, I don't know if I see a way back into the series for the Atlanta side.
And that's the weird thing, because you have to give them benefit of the doubt. Don't get me wrong, yesterday, rocked by Rocker. Today, LAG have already taken them down on Bacage. FaZe no longer looking untouchable on the map. In fairness, it might be a veto for him for a little while, unless they can figure it out. Going into this S&D, though, a hot LAG, a team on the ascendance against Atlanta FaZe, who just need some stability and maybe a little bit of a confidence kill. They need to figure something out and figure it out fast. The worst possible time for a team to hit the downfall is right before the event, and Atlanta FaZe are writing it into existence.
You know, we've been having a conversation. There's no gunfight seemingly going to transpire to kick things off. We've been having the conversation about how poor FaZe have looked as of recent, but then we were also saying, would it surprise you to see them win Major 3? I think you know, we had that conversation last night. If they lose this, though, I think it would, honestly. With all respect, Minnesota have been playing very, very well, but LAG haven't necessarily, you know, looked as good as they had done at Major 2, of course, as our cities will find the first blood, but yeah, this would be a serious worry if they do lose this game, especially in the fashion, if it continues how it did in map number 1. 4 versus 3 for the side of FaZe now, though. LAG looking to try and find something over towards the A side. Simp ready and waiting inside a pass.
And FaZe have looked good on this map as well, but so have LAG. The Sober battles could be very influential as they go through. Right now, LAG need to find an opening. Huke makes the first one. Dominant in the first hard point and brings them back to a 3 versus 3. Who else can he find? At the moment, nobody, but they're trying to lock down a B push here. And Cellium's a player who'll stop them.
Oh, shot's gonna go in. He just about finds a pixel onto Asim. And Hook just walking through the point there. And inside a palace, he will trade places with Simp. He will find our cities, and now it's the hunt on for Cellium. Gunless, I mean, there's not enough time, unfortunately, for the side of LAG now, unless they can find both 2 kills. Lingered far too long on trying to get that bomb down, and FaZe will find the round.
That first bug by Arcades, it pays
and
out.
A big pick by Cellium as well. Huge pick from Cellium.
Just kind of slowed down LAG, and I'm guessing they were playing around Gunless, maybe looking for the revenge pick. Eventually it fell on Huke to get it, but Cellium with a very important pick as well. 2 kills really just told the entire story, because even with Huke finding his, they were just delayed over and over again. First round to Atlanta FaZe, on to the second. And they're going for a mid-dominant push, but also looking for that pick at A-Ton.
Arseny's not been confident recently. What was it? 7 of the last 8 series. He's went negative or something along those lines. Sniper in his hand may well give him some confidence. It's another first blood for FaZe. LAG playing from behind once again. Get through the stone walls there, PS. Good man. Now he's going to have to be the man to get something done, and those are the kind of shots you got to hit, you know. Arseny's in the middle of nowhere. And sometimes the easier shots are the harder ones to take. Asim will answer back. It's 3v3, but that bomb is down.
Yeah, Gunner's trying to push all this pressure back. He's not hitting shots, but he is forcing a backstep from Atlanta FaZe. Slash is trying to get into this one. Arseny's makes a pick on the Gunners in the end. And Arseny's finds a second with a sniper. And we said we need this man to turn up, and he's done it. It's now a 1 versus 3 for Asim, and he finds the first, but with 20 seconds left, he's going to get gunned.
Well played from Arseny's. Confidence to child out with the pistol as well as maybe overarching, if anything. But at the same time, the round was already done. They get the info on Asim. Cellium always there for the cleanup. 2-0 enough for FaZe. They've got a little bit of a buffer. Those first bloods very much in their favor. For LAG, though, I think have to just concentrate on maybe surviving that first 30 seconds and not working from the back foot. But a couple of opportunities there for Gunless to find a couple of shots. Finds Arseny's. It's a very different round.
Yeah, Gunner's missing his snipes. It doesn't spell well for the rest of this series, because if Arseny's feeling himself, it can take over parts of those maps. At the moment, you can see LAG looking for some pusher going through. That's another first blood that has been ripped away from them. FaZe are finding first blood so far in this S&D. And a little bit of confidence may start to dwell in the chest of Atlanta FaZe. Hugh gonna try and find a Beezy here, and it's a slow peek, and a Beezy says thank you very much. 2 versus 4 for LAG.
Yeah, one of the easier kills Abizi will find. Got himself into this position very, very quickly. Nobody from LAG covering the B side to kick things off, and all of a sudden, he's in your spawn. Abizi likely to push this again. Slasher, we'll see you later. It's only going to be Gunless left now on a 1 versus 4. Abizi finding 2 in the round, though, and this one is done and dusted. A 3-0 lead for FaZe. Unless Gunless can pull a, well, not just a rabbit out of the hat, a 1v4 alongside of it would be nice.
Just think a little bit of a confidence kill for Gunners would be nice as he takes a grenade to the side of the head. They know where he is. They cut him down. And down they go. Atlanta FaZe 3-0 on this so far. Looking confident.
Much more confident. Much, much more confident. And I don't know, it just kind of feels like LAG are running into them. They're holding their ankles. And I mean, they're not doing anything special for the side of FaZe. They're just making sure they find those kills. Your gunnies are up. You're finding the gunfights. We haven't seen any of the first bloods yet, but they haven't seemed to come in any strange position. It hasn't necessarily been a ridiculous gunfight from our point of view, at least. What can you do now if you're LAG? 3 down. Hold your defense and then maybe try and find an attack, and then you're back on the defense and you're suddenly back into the game, maybe. But it's a precarious spot to be in. Not playing that passive here either. Yeah, either. Bryson Gunless over towards this side could be the one with the sniper.
Well, they've moved Arceus up for the counter snipe. They're looking for him, Cellium throwing a shoulder there. Gunners could take him apart if he finds him in the right time, and he doesn't.
He didn't see him either.
They're executing as well. They're looking to get onto this point here, FaZe. Slowly but surely creeping up this map. IG, not in the best place to counter it. Will come down to Gunless if he can find something. And with bomb down, they're going to have to swing into action.
Oh, so these will find Gunless as well. So that sniper battle just going the wrong way for LAG. Arseny's having a hell of a game. The team will be able to answer back with a kill onto Cellium, and maybe if LAG can just up the pace, then something could be done here. Asim will surely get caught by Abizi. He does so. It's a 2 versus 3 for LAG.
And Abizi's on his demon time. He is flying around this map as Arseny's finds Huke as well. And Slasher finds the first, but 2 players left to try and break down before he can get onto this bomb for the 1 versus 3. And he knows the time is against him as well. He shot in the back, he shot in the front, and down he goes. FaZe find another round here. And I said they needed a confidence boost, Sadan. I said they needed to find something to put all the criticism to rest. And this might be it.
This is dominant. It's the kind of map they would have wanted. To kick things off. Something in this fashion on Bocage would have been perfect. Yeah, absolutely fine, but maybe this is the kind of map you need to bounce back after a map like that as well. Fantastic stuff from acides. He's the one finding a lot of these picks. aBeZy just controlling Palace as best as he can. LAG, not at the races at all. It is another first blood, although this one answered back fairly quickly. It is 3 versus 3 over towards B.
Oh, so he's going to try and open up this field a little bit here. You can see that bomb going down, so it's retake for FaZe. They are locked in, and he's looking for it as well. Cellium finds one, and Arcades is going to call out Slasher. Hasn't seen him, doesn't know where he's gone. That defuse is coming in, and Arcades is desperate to go on the overwatch for it. And nade has already flown through, and that's going to be defused. Just not in the right position. The threat of Arcades was enough to push LAG completely off their game plan.
And that's the thing, as soon as the scene goes down to the angle from Cellium, it is hitting at 5 and 2 right now. In Arcades, it is difficult to retake that side. Well played from FaZe, though. They just take their time, make 6 and 2 for aBeZy, 5 spree for him. LAG honestly just choke this round and get yourself into the control because things need to change. Although saying that, Slasher and Hook will find 2. Full sale, Bryce? No? Too early?
That would certainly be a nail in the coffin of FaZe, but right now, Arcades left alone on a 1 versus 4, and they've hunted him down and taken him down as well. So now FaZe have lost 1, but can LAG hit that full sale? It's an early call, but I never count anything out in CDL these days.
No, we can't count much out in Vanguard, can we? A team who has finished 2nd in our 2 majors, going up against a team who somehow managed to win it with a sub.
It's kind of mad.
It still doesn't feel real. That, by the way, that was. Gosh.
FaZe forever 2nd, playing against the champions of Major 2.
Yep.
Back and forth at the moment. FaZe dominating on this S&D. LAG dominating the hard point, but does it end this way? aBeZy finds first blood again. Gunless trying to get that trade coming through, and they are just going back and forth about it, and aBeZy eventually will get the benefit for it, and he tries to get players to back him up, and it hasn't worked from aBeZy. It's just gunning, absolutely gunning. Slasher, last one alive for LAG. aBeZy on the cusp of the ace. Never mind, Arcades says you're not having it today. It's done, it's dusted, it's the S&D. And FaZe run over LAG in an anticlimactic game. I'm not going to lie to you. It was just dominant.
And that's a turn up of the books, to be honest with you, because when I looked at this series beforehand, and I thought to myself, if there's any map in particular that LAG have a good chance on, it was map number 2. The fact that they come out, win the Bocage as well, I was like, oh, they're looking great. Phenomenal start to the series. That was weird. I just don't know. Just not a good performance at all.
I just have a theory about FaZe on Desert Siege, something that I've kind of noticed whenever they play this game. When they get beat, I feel like it usually hinges on Arcades. They tend to play around him an awful lot. And essentially with his sniping or the position he takes into field, if he's confident and if they are making kills, FaZe are right at home. It's when they don't have that. If Arcades starts getting first blood in, or lines. Obviously, aBeZy here getting 1 million first bloods helped Arcades with the pressure from the sniper, shut them down over and over again. Gunless, really bad time for it, and just wasn't able to hit the snipes after we saw it early on. Never really regained that confidence.
Never did. And the fact that, you know, Simp sitting there at 1 and 3 and you've still won 6-1 tells the story of how well aBeZy and Arcades played. Fantastic stuff from FaZe. Completely counteracted exactly what we thought was going to be the game plan for LAG, which would have been the snipe by that threat. Win the game fairly easily. So well played to the side of FaZe. LAG's plan, no, that FaZe definitely, surely that's going to be a little bit of a weight off their shoulders. The fact that they can find that map now, does it allow them to kick on in the series, or do we see something similar? Because that was a lot more like the FaZe of old rather than the FaZe of recent.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. Unfortunately, we don't close the book here. We are going to go to a map number 3. So don't go anywhere and join us when we find out how this one ends. Either LAG or Atlanta FaZe have got to walk away with a win. We'll see you right after this.
Call of Duty League is brought to you by Zenni. Armor your eyes with Blox gaming glasses starting at $24 by visiting zenni.com/CDL. The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Game Fuel. Victory in a can.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty League. You join us in an interesting game so far. Atlanta FaZe bodied on Bocage, LAG taken down in Desert Siege. A game of two halves essentially, but fortunately much more to come in this series, Ton.
A lot more to come. I think for the side of LAG, you had FaZe down and bleeding, but those are the kind of opportunities you maybe need to take. That search and destroy is one that you know you're well versed on, but to get smoked like that, is that now the FaZe ascendancy? Is this now going to be the standard FaZe that we would usually see? Is kind of my question after that one, because that was quite simply just very, very solid from the side of FaZe. They execute their game plan wonderfully. For the side of LAG, they could never get going. Their main plan usually when it comes down to Desert Siege just to get gunless on that sniper, finding those shots. We were very much left wanting for a lot of them from when we seen on the kill cam. I think we were just discussing the brick. Does Gunless even hit anybody during that series? Did he even land a bullet? I'm not even too sure. So yeah, not the greatest of maps there from Gunless, and it showed on the scoreboard. So now for the side of FaZe, it's your opportunity to bounce back after opponent map number 1, and can you now take this series in 4? I would say it's more likely than not, to be honest, Brycey, with how that search now went. I think LAG are maybe a little bit despondent after that one, because that was a good pick for them, and that, for me, you were looking at it on paper, you would like to see a 2-0 lead for your LAG fan.
Yeah, you certainly would. Obviously, I think coming into this one, though, you would definitely favour a little bit of Atlanta FaZe on those map picks. Really, essentially, the Bocage, most people think is a lock for them most of the time. Going into Desert Siege, like I said, I've seen two sides of Atlanta FaZe, and today was the good side. Going into the Control is going to be telling. The respawn's not looking great for FaZe, which is something I never thought I'd be saying, but has that S&D given them a new level of confidence? Do we get to see Demon Time FaZe back in action, or the Major 2 champions back on form? It's a big question as we head into Gavudu. I feel like some of the questions will be around Arcades here, if he has a good game. Because I think it was you, Tony, brought up the statistic saying out of the last 7 series hasn't been positive.
Yeah, it was on the keys to victory at the start of the game. It was across, just get this one correct because we don't want to get it wrong, do we? Positive once in the last 7 series. Yep, it's not good. Not fantastic, especially from a player like Alec. You know, we know what kind of numbers he can drop. We know what kind of player he can be. And you need to see more from him out of these kind of series. These ones that you would expect Atlanta FaZe to win, 100%. Don't think anybody would have put their money where their mouth is when it comes down to LAG in this series, but FaZe, good start for them now, looking to try and get a hold of boat control as the push comes in here from LAG. As far as this map goes, though, 6-9 for the side of LAG, FaZe 7-7, so not too dissimilar, I would say. FaZe overall in control. Tuscan is their playground, but the other two, they have struggled somewhat. So let's see if they can get something going here on Gav.
Well, it's going to be a little bit telling depending on how it goes down at the moment. FaZe are winning all over the show. Gunner's trying to hold them off, and aBeZy's going to be looking for him. Doesn't matter. Cellium gets him in the end, and LAG might find themselves in a bit of a blender here if they can't break this deadlock.
Yes, him doing the classic. Pushes up each side. He is always playing this role for the side of FaZe. LAG are taking their time, but they are slowly being picked apart here. aBeZy now will push out. Asim will be dealt with. And LAG just look a little shell-shocked after that search and destroy. Yet to find a way out of their spawn. aBeZy will just get caught napping just a little bit. Sib will find one on the return, and LAG just clear out their spawn, but now is the damage already done? 24 seconds to get something done over towards A. They get a little bit of control, but that's all they have.
Well, he's going to try and hold him off with the propane. And he's doing so. That clock has stopped, and it's players all aboard the boat for LAG. And Atlanta FaZe have given it up. Best thing that they've managed to achieve so far, because they don't really have the lives in their favor too much, is the fact they've bled a lot of that time away for LAG to get B.
They have done, but honestly, with the position that they had there, Bryce, I would like to see them lock that one in, but I don't think they'll be too disappointed. That's okay. You can give A up. It's still a hard push over towards the B side. Atlanta FaZe with a line across the map. Green control going to start coming in here for LAG. Oh, look at the spawn here, actually. Are they going to be able to get rid of aBeZy? Yes, they are. aBeZy just spawns in the middle of 3 LAG players. Not necessarily ideal. FaZe still with P1 control. aBeZy still cut off from the rest of his teammates. Is he going to get cut down again? Not quite. Good shots onto Hookin. This could be the break back here for the side of FaZe now. We'll find a couple of kills then towards the back. It's only Asim. Doing well to survive, though.
This puts an awful lot of pressure on the FaZe. They know they have to battle through in every single position, and they let a player get back onto the point, holds him up. The wall bang isn't that effective through the tank. And Asim is still alive towards the back. It is causing all kinds of issues. Eventually, Arseny finds him, but Gunless is still going to be on that B tank.
Yeah, slowly making the progress there as well, Bryce. If you consider over towards the 5th round, if we do get there, there's another tick. It's 4 in total so far for the side of LAG. They've been a constant threat all the way through green, and that's the angle they're playing for once more. It's only Asim over towards P1. They can get rid of Cellium, get over towards green, get control. Then maybe it could be an attack around on the board. They get rid of Arsenes over towards the both sides, so now it's about cleaning out P1. Not going to happen, as it is Cellium and Simp locking this one down. LEG, it's a bit of a laboured push this time around. It's just good positioning from FaZe. Put themselves in awkward spots in the map, and a minor scare is all it will be with 15 seconds left to go. I don't see LAG getting any further than this.
Keep an eye on Cellium, by the way. 7-1. It's a scary prospect. What some people consider one of the league's best players. Last couple of series not been great for him, but right now, absolutely dropping bombs on a 5 streak. They'll probably try and play around that here on this attack. See if they can't get a bit of bait for Cellium. Get him in a good position. It might even be a slow start for FaZe on this attacking round, Tom.
Wouldn't surprise me. We know how good the glide bomb is on this map in particular. Let's see if they do play for it. I would be playing for it if I was the side of FaZe. It's just nice to have that insurance policy, isn't it? But yeah, good hold in the end. Didn't panic as well. That's what I liked about it. LAG were always in their spawn. Now once did you see the side of FaZe panic. Controlled over towards P1. They can cut off the resources that are coming in for LAG. Very, very well played. Now for Cell, can he find 2 more kills? He does like this ladder. He's probably going to be challenged by Hook here, though. Just about takes his head off with some help from his teammate. He's one off that glide.
He is. Might even see a propane push here or just sitting up top boat. He'll be looking for the easy pick. A glide bomb on this map is certainly worth playing for. Not like some other teams we've seen on Berlin. Not such a good map for it. Cellium still just playing a little bit coy. His teammates are taking every single kill away from him. He does Yuke! And he does get it. Glide bomb in the pocket. Atlanta FaZe are dominating on Gavuru. LAG having to just back up, take the B control, then get it. Arseny's also firing on all cylinders.
This is nice from FaZe, not overstepping their mark either. They get a hold of it. They know they have map control. There's no need to maybe overstep just a little bit. Arseny's P1 control. That's kind of what you want as you set the foundations for a push over towards B. I don't think they would have expected Gunless. Yeah, I was going to say Gunless pushing up this side. It's surely going to be an issue here. Does he challenge it? Yes, he does. Surely he should be dead for the return, and is. aBeZy will get there for the trade, but still, Cellium.
Oh, Sim trying to do some work there, but Nade's running all about him. aBeZy being on this hill. The problem is they can't really call him this glide bomb until they have reinforcements. You need to be able to capitalize on any push you make. First tick in for FaZe. Cellium finds a kill as well. aBeZy holding fire, waiting for anyone to make their man known, and now he's alone. Gonna be looking for that second tick. That's all he really wants out of this now, and he's trying to stay alive, not able to Gunless. And a lot of pressure from FaZe, but no second tick as LAG look to move up the map.
And what works out well for LAG is that they can move up the map there, Bryce. Not caught in their spawn, not worrying about players over towards P1, but you can worry about Cellium. My goodness! This team has just absolutely mollywopped them, and there's aBeZy as well, and now we can push up, and all of a sudden what was looking like an attack and run for FaZe, LAG have a say in it. Maybe they are here still to play. We've seen a good performance in map number 1. We've seen absolutely nothing in map number 2. They seem to have a walk in here on Gabutu control. Slasher on the flank. FaZe struggling to push. LAG still within the shout here.
Yeah, Slasher being an issue as well. Asim just doing bits of P1 at the same time. And guns again. Arseny's in problems as well. They cannot find Slashers on a 5. Hugh continuing his reign of terror. And FaZe on the cusp of getting a second tick on B. Now we've got to worry about getting out of spawn.
They have time here. They don't necessarily need to rush into these gunfights. Still 40 seconds to play with. Simp will find Slasher. Asim will then get taken down by Simp also. Hook now just trying to stay alive. Will put the shots in. Doing them backing up, to be honest with you, because aBeZy's going to be there. The rest of the team now coming off the respawn, but FaZe halfway up the map here. One good push could be curtains for LAG.
The question is, I don't think they invest here, not unless they make 1 or 2 kills. Sim finds one.
There's one.
They're going for the push here. Abizi's going to try and make a huge gunfight if he can make it, trying to stay alive. Eventually does find him. They're now on the point. It's locked down, but he needs reinforcements. Gunless already takes a bear down P1, and Abizi's desperately fighting for his life here on the hill and does end up dropping. And FaZe are so far away, I don't think they can make this work.
They can't. Didn't invest the glide, but did not allow LAG to get one of their own as well. So that is important. But LAG will get a hard forward defense underneath their belts there. Very well played, constantly just trying to get a little bit of control. And I think for the side of FaZe there, they had a lot of control, and all of a sudden they lost all of it. You've seen the attack starting to come through. They're starting to stretch their legs, spread their wings a little bit. And they got clipped very, very quickly by the side of LAG, and all of a sudden they could get map control back, forced FaZe back. Just not enough time to get anything done. But you were right to sort of say, you know, do they invest their glide mode? They choose not to.
Would be the first time
kind of went by. Well, yes, I know there's so many times. I think we see a couple of challenges, didn't we, over the last week? Also, when we were covering on that side of things, it is so hard to make the right time to call that glide bomb in. It's nice to still have it if you're FaZe.
It is. It's also much better on defense than it is on attack. Does give them kind of a get out of jail free card on the B push. Right now, it's all about A. LAG trying to lock down boat, trying to lock down control. The one thing they don't want to be put in is the Atlanta FaZe Blender back in spawn.
One thing I would say there as well, FaZe get a hold of a tick over towards B. So counteract what LAG managed to do in their first round. So the ticks are all even. Heading into the next 2 attacking rounds. Slasher and Gunless getting something done over towards A here, and eventually it will get taken. Cellium ready and waiting over towards Green. The Green spawn comes in here for FaZe as well. Can they win these gunfights? Cellium doing it on his own momentarily. A hasn't quite went over, actually, and they managed to get a hold of it. You have to be careful with your LAG. All of a sudden, if you're Slasher, you're the only one alive.
It's sounding like the start of a blender. It's sounding like the start of a blender. LAG need that kill. Asim trying to get out of there as well. Get back in the boat. All of LA, FaZe Atlanta pushing up, trying to lock them in, and Hugh makes 2 as well. This will be a big kill, whoever makes it. Asim or Cillium. Looking for this one desperately. He doesn't even want to give him A control here, Ton.
And why? Why would you? Fight for it if you can. That's exactly what FaZe did, and all of a sudden, LAG are in a really, really rough spot. 30 seconds to go now. Push for LAG now. For the side of FaZe, this will be a really good defense to get underneath their belts. Only 2 ticks going over towards the side of LAG. Unless they can lock it in. That's a big gunfight win for Slasher. BZ is there to counter it. 13 seconds.
LAG going to be worried about him now. He's going to try and take this gunfight as well. Hugh eventually gets it. A last hurrah here for LAG, trying to get as many ticks as possible on the board. Gunless locking down boat, and A swings into their control. It's enough. It's enough for now. But with 1 minute left remaining, can they get any more ticks? Obviously, ticks do mean we can get a control onto which team gets that last round. Very important to obviously try and get defense.
Especially when it comes down to Gavutu. It is the map where the attacks are the hardest to come by. Gunless not going to find anything out there either. BZ will find them over towards the green side push. LAG straight through the front door. Seems to be the tactic. Oh, he spotted Cellium as well. Cellium can do is staying alive and does so. Does want to step further. Step there to back things up. Also, LAG, it's a staggered push at this moment in time. FaZe just not allowing them any sort of control. Takes something quite special to get an attacking round here.
Does. It might be one last push, though. FaZe cannot lose his gunfights, and they don't. Arsene cuts 2 down. Looking for the 3rd. Thank you, Gunless, for that one. Narcissus gets the 4th as well. Full team wipe for him. 10 seconds remaining. LAG probably just try and find a few kills here, because none of them have a jetpack to reach B in time.
It's a long time ago since we had those, Brycey. long time ago. Anyway, there we go. FaZe will find another defensive hold. No ticks over towards this the big point this time. So bear that in mind. 4 ticks is all they need to secure defense on round number 4, unless of course they can take it at round number 4. Let's see if they can do so. They did come close last time, Bryce. I'm curious if the moment finds itself in the right spot, whether that glide bomb will be brought in. So there's the tick advantage for the side of LAG, but FaZe are the ones with the opportunity to wipe that up.
Just an A cap would make it all even. But who comes out on top? Selim still doing what he was doing the last couple of rounds, but Gunless answers back before they can get a control. Eventually taking himself down as well, and Musty's moving forward here to try and farm them. LAG are doing the same thing, but unfortunately, you can't farm players off spawn if they're not in spawn.
Arseny's making sure
Arseny's, by the way.
There you go. That's a glide bomb as well. 4 kills off the back of that last round, and then all of a sudden starts playing the slow game over towards P1. The AA gun belongs to Arseny. 7 in a row from him. Glide bomb in secondary will definitely help phase out. Irrelevant of what happens in this round. Kind of got caught in, but yeah, rocking a hard place now, Bryce.
Kind of a crazy thing. If LAG can hold them and stick them back in a spawn, they won't get the ticks they need to try and get defense for the last round. A little bit of a dangerous prospect considering how little time they've got left remaining here. LAG may have pulled off a bit of a madness. You can already see FaZe hot footing the way through. aBeZy with a bounce. They need players. They need to get forward. They need to stop this clock. And they are desperate to do it right now.
Just feels like LAG have never lost control of the boat. aBeZy and Kodo found their way through. Hook is the only one who can do something. aBeZy deletes him. FaZe have sprung into life, but is it too little too late? 11 seconds left on this timer. About to get those 3 ticks to even things up here. And LAG just stop them getting onto B, and then it goes down to the life side of things. aBeZy though, continuing their streak. 4, make it 5, not quite. Sasha will answer back, but Simp has slipped the net over towards P1.
Oh, Arseny's making himself known over by Bo as well. Will eventually be taken down. FaZe want the push. Simp already making the kill towards it as well. And Slash is going to go down at the same time. Little bit disastrous as another player goes down for LAG. Blood in the water for FaZe.
Yep,
Here comes the glides. It's disastrous time. They are looking to end this right here and right now, or at least get that first tick done. They are desperate for it.
The problem is that they can't actually push up much further. They were looking to just try and lock down a little bit of map presence, if anything. They still have forced LAG back. Another investment of a glide bomb would maybe be questionable, but is it something maybe just to wipe LAG out? They've got complete map control now. Can they find these next couple of kills? If they can do, LAG are on a rough spot. 9v7 on live count as well. Keep an eye on that.
Oh, Selim has just taken down Gunless, who was holding the cut. Selim might die. This eventually goes down to Hugh as well. Hugh and Simp trying to find something at the same time. And Simp trying to make a hero play, but it's not good enough. A glide bomb was invested for this, but no tick, no cigar. And it's just 3 ticks apiece. Who gets defense in this one, Ton?
I'm not too sure, but that kind of gave me vibes of what we've seen on Bakaj on occasion. The indecisiveness from FaZe. In that situation, you've got a couple of guys dead. They're all pushing towards the back. Yes, LAG have got their guns up, but you like to see them get aggressive onto the point. It will be FaZe with their defense, and they still do have a singular glide bomb to play with. But there was an opportunity there in that attack to get something done. They did not press the issue like we see FaZe do sometimes. They will just get a
FaZe, and I don't know why.
It was a little bit too slow.
A lot of teams will be just aggressive once they get 2 or 3 down, and FaZe seem to actually just hit the brakes. But right now, pretty standard. LAG trying to get boat control, but they are losing gunfights across the map. Asim stays alive. Back in. Stop the clock. Get that first tick.
Absolutely advantage over towards FaZe here. Defensive hold for them. You got a glide bomb. You would think it's secured in the back pocket, but is that going to be the case? Seem inside the point. Not in too bad of a spot here, LAG. Oh, Arseny's will find a kill. Over towards the cliff side. Now Gunless is going to have to fight his way out. How fast can FaZe put themselves in that position to put LAG in the blender? The answer to that question is pretty quickly. Asim will find another, though. A little bit of tension relieved.
Arseny's just stopping any potential push they're coming through. aBeZy going to be running around here, just being a troublemaker as well, and they need another opportunity here, LAG. This FaZe already ready for one of the most infamous spawn traps on Vanguard. And this is not when they want it, not the last round, not when they've got so much to do and no time.
Very little time for the side of LAG. 20 seconds to go. Yeah, it is a B hit. It's going to come in here for the through. As soon as any sort of presence over towards that side starts to come through, surely the hammer will be dropped. It may well not need to be.
Call it in. Just call it in. There it is. It's coming. A disastrous ends with a glide bomb to the face, and Atlanta FaZe take the control. Wasn't a dominant performance, but it was a good performance. They looked like they were in charge for the majority of that game, and now they go 2-1 up in the series.
Never really felt in doubt, did it? The defensive rounds pretty clean for the most part outside of the first one. They were the more threatening on the attack, which ultimately will be the thing that gets them a hold of that final defense, and with that glide bomb ready to go, their best defensive round is what it results in. Fantastic stuff from the side of FaZe. They just do what you need to do on Gavutu control and get the job done and find a lead back into this series. Looking over towards the kill feed, though, Arcitys had a great game there. That 4-piece over towards the end of the hold to send it to that round number 5. Phenomenal from him, and we need to see much more of that kind of thing from Arcitys. We know how capable he is. How many years has this guy been at the top of the list all the time for ARs? We just haven't seen enough of it so far this year, but that was a little bit more like it.
Having a good time, and I still think the criticism might be a little bit valid towards their attacking strategies.
Yeah, there was definitely a moment there, Bryce. I would have liked to see them just go for it. You know what I mean? It was, you've got nothing to lose at that stage, right?
They're also very ring heavy when they go on the attack. Like, I know a lot of teams try to get somebody towards the back here. I don't know whether Atlanta FaZe was just being shut down every time, but they never had that extra angle for the majority of it. When you saw LAG try to make it, don't get me wrong, they weren't any more successful than FaZe, but they always sent somebody like through radio or try to hit the green cut. FaZe just seem to want to go P1 dominant, and it doesn't really work out for them because they're also quite slow at it. And there are 2 very infamous cuts that you have to get through, and it is a difficult gunfight at the best of times.
It was almost like in this round that we're now seeing on our screens that they got themselves in that position. We may well get to see it, and then they kind of freeze a little bit, don't they? It's like, right, okay, we've got control of P1, we've got somebody over towards screen, got somebody on the rock, we've got to watch the crossover from fire. Brilliant. Now what do we do? it was just like they froze. It was like you needed somebody just to go, right, sod this, onto the point, let's see what we can do from there. Then LAG need to kick into gear and do something, and you're in the spot to respond to it. Either way, they will get the win, but yeah, they could have definitely done that within 4. I'm not too sure they'd be too bothered how they do it, but 3-2 win will give them confidence heading into map number 4. Tuscan, notoriously pretty decent for the side of FaZe. Seen a couple of really good games out of them on this map, but
yeah, you're 100% right. Obviously, for LAG, trying to pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and go back into a hard point in full force. Last time around on Bacage, hard point was everything we could say was LAG. What comes next, though, kind of determines how we feel about this series and how we look at both of these 2 teams. Obviously, LAG have looked better in recent times, and if you go a bit further, they were the Major 2 champions, obviously with a different player in their roster. Biggest story about FaZe, that game yesterday. It has upset an awful lot of people. They were expecting a dominant FaZe going into Major 3 again. Haven't looked like it. The rivalry between Optic and FaZe is basically all everybody's been talking about. Can't be a rivalry if FaZe aren't good.
yeah, I was about to say, is it even a rivalry at this stage? I mean, it's there in the hearts of the fans, but yeah, you're right. Rivalries only really exist if we can have good games between. To not even take a map off an Optic squad who, yes, have looked really good with Pro Loot, but it's not even their main 4, you know. It's one of those situations you need to see a lot more from FaZe. And I think, you know, yeah, okay, Optic have been playing really well, and FaZe going into that game, you'd like to see more. But I think, honestly, the Minnesota series was maybe a little bit more telling. Minnesota have looked fantastic, but again, these are the teams that FaZe of the consensus has been all the way through the season, they are the second best team behind Optic. That's kind of where everyone's really had them at the majority of the time. You need to be dealing with teams like Minnesota Rocker every single time. If you are FaZe, even if it's close games and finding wins against them, that's absolutely fine. But to be that number 2 team, we've quite often seen the gap in between Optic and FaZe and everybody else starting to widen very, very quickly, or Optic are going to run away with the rest of this. Yeah, it's the potential for that to happen is very, very high.
I almost didn't want to mention this as I didn't want to jinx anything, but
go on.
Really, it smells like a year where Optic get another ring on the board. Scumps already salivating. It's only a couple of months. I know.
Your mentions are already on fire.
Have gone
what have you done that
the
for?
pale here.
What have you done that for?
Because let's be perfectly clear. The only team who's looked, and I was going to say consistent, but obviously we'll have to forget Major 2 and stuff, and they've got a sub, but Optic kind of look like the real deal at the moment. And if Atlanta FaZe aren't there to challenge them, who is? Who else in this league are you going to say at the moment will consistently challenge Optic? I know I'm getting ahead of myself. I know I am. But
I mean,
it's a question that people are asking now.
It is a good question, to be honest with you, because, I mean, outside of FaZe, who would you say is the teams on the ascendancy right now? You would say Rocker, obviously. You would look at maybe Toronto have looked a little bit better recently too. You would have originally said London, New York are looking a little bit better. But are these teams going to be good enough to step up to the plate against a team like Optic and even FaZe? Let's see as time does go on. Let's be honest though, this is a blip for FaZe. They haven't looked like the FaZe of last year, absolutely. But I mean, they would have done very well to do so. But at the same time, this is just a small blip. It's not like, you know, it's complete disaster yet. If they go and have an absolute stinker, of course, in Toronto, then alarm bells will maybe be ringing and changes. I wouldn't say changes will come through. Look how good this roster has been in the past. It's just issues in game that they need to figure out. But it's going to be one of those things where they're going to have to seriously look at it if things don't go well over towards Major 3. But as we were saying beforehand, in the green room, we've all been discussing the fact that FaZe could go on to lose a couple of these games and still win the major, and I don't think anybody would be too shocked about that.
No, that's entirely true, but let's stop going into the future before we get there and talk about our immediate future and what's coming up in this next game. Of course, it's going to be the hard point. Let's take a look at our top performers so far. We've got Cellium versus Gunless. Of course, Cellium with a 1.28. Gunless with a 1.06. All stats point towards Cellium, as they have done for the majority of the season. Recent performances may be a bit of a spanner in the works, but he has looked good in this series, Ton.
He has done. He really has. Outside of map number 1, of course, I mean, we can maybe discount that a little bit, that they did not look good there. There's actually looking through the kill-death ratios for some of these teams, and I know we don't like to maybe jump on it far too much, but look at the FaZe's KDs over the season. Cellium heading, well, after the series over the past couple of weeks, a 1.23. Over the past 2 series, a 0.9. Simp with a 1.05 over the season, 0.8 over the last 2 series. These are the kinds of, that's how different it has been for the side FaZe. The numbers have changed a lot when it comes down to KD, and that is one of those things we don't want to talk about it too much, but that is a drop, a huge drop across the whole of the FaZe side. But that for me is much better. That's more like it. That's what you want to see them at. Even for their standards, you probably expect maybe even a little bit more, but side of LAG, Gunless lagging behind just a little bit. We'll need to step it up here on Tuscan. That wasn't intentional, the lagging. Yeah, okay, but
he did get a 0 on that SMG,
no damage,
0 damage. So that's so it's a slight misstep maybe there from Gunless, but all can be redeemed. We head on to the hard point. FaZe straight in, and a flank coming in from LAG.
This is LAG's pick. I mean, maybe they're rubbing that mistake, because Cellium will find 2. For the side of FaZe, though, it is a very strong map. 2 losses on it, of course, but plenty of wins, and that's no surprise to see with how dominant FaZe have looked against certain teams. See if they can get it done here, though, against LAG. This is much better so far. The kind of start you want for your FaZe fan. 25 points unanswered from the side of LAG, who can only walk away with their tail in between their legs and just try and set up for P2.
Now, holding this is big for LAG, but they've got to start winning some of the gunfights. Gunless already getting it down. You can see they have set up here, ready for the push from FaZe.
Grand all total of 51 points from P1. Unanswered by LAG. They're going to have to start answering something very quickly. 2 kills going the way of aBeZy, though. Gunless can trade that one out, but on the point, there's going to be a Seam on the point. A Seam still alive and kicking, finds the gunfight into aBeZy. And do not underestimate Seam on this map. How many little highlights have we seen from that man on Tuscan? They need to step it up quickly, though. That P1 from Atlanta FaZe is somewhat dangerous. LAG, good hold so far.
Yeah, they have managed to hold it off, and even with a little crack in their defense, they've managed to regain. But I say that, and it all goes down. Atlanta FaZe getting on for this scrap time. LAG, I don't know if they've really got time to challenge it, especially down ramp. They may have to just cut and run. Big fight from Slasher, actually. They decided to take this last 12 seconds, and Cellium says no.
I was going to say you need to make sure you do get a hold of this if you're LAG. Final 10 seconds. with the weight and gold as we head over towards P3 with a rotation that does belong to FaZe. But look at the spawn out that's now going to come in. If you're LAG, this could be a little bit difficult. Honestly, Slasher is in the prime position here, and he might just cut off the rotation that's going to start coming up through. The rest of the squad for LAG do not know that there's only 2 members of FaZe back here, though. So FaZe can regroup, and it's like nothing's ever happened.
Oh, it's a big FaZe hold, and they're looking good at the moment. BZ bouncing about again, taking down the players. Gunless towards tiles, trying to make a bit of a difference. Can they? BZ somehow staying alive over and over again, but eventually will be LAG. And they get back into this one, FaZe.
Doesn't help when your team nade comes through either. It's going to be the final 10 going over towards the side of FaZe and already looking at BZ. He's got the roots. Can he find Gunless? Yes, he can. And Gunless's woes just continue in the series. Now, BZ will just try his best to stay alive over towards the back. LAG will push him out. Look at this. 2 players heading towards him. Well played. Really good bait and switch coming in from the LAG side, but now he's going to worry about the front as well. FaZe already here and already fighting.
Well, it's much better from FaZe. Dominating like the FaZe we know. The FaZe we love. And they're holding down Church as well. Big plays from aBeZy. And what could have been a conversation at the start of this map has disappeared into the ether. FaZe looking fantastic, looking amazing. Gunner's going to try and come through here as well, but it is traded out again. The trades are not going to LAG. They are looking to blow out of the water. And it's all FaZe up all the time.
FaZe will get the majority of the time here, but even towards P2 where LAG locked in that rotation, not the easiest ones to hold, albeit, but even if FaZe can just go even, and after that brilliant start they have, it puts you in the prime position. Now heading over towards P5, let's see if LAG can do a better job at it here, because their hold percentage so far ain't looking good. 14-5 out of Celium as well. It's always dangerous, and the pinch is going to start developing here. They have to make sure they win gunfights both sides if you're the LAG.
They certainly are. Well, let's find out how they deal with being behind. Let's go for a listening with LAG.
Got him.
Nice, go in.
Slid on me, Simp, dead. Middle right now.
Top green, one shot for you.
I'm putting time.
Side on me. And well.
I got him.
Nice, one more top green.
Hybrid mid and let's 30 well.
Nice.
There's 2 mid.
Okay, I'll hold you mid.
I one shot mid, both one shot.
Naded over this
Can you
side.
get the armor now?
I naded over, yeah. I'm
Simp was
getting
one
it.
shot too. I'll team top green peeking.
Well,
Dead.
nice. I have time.
We'll leave top green.
Hello,
Top green right now.
wall banging my shit.
Playing
Alright, that's
3-0 here.
fine, that's
They like
fine.
to play
We're
3-0. One's you, one rotated to
You wanna
3.
help me new? Wanna help me new?
I'm trying to play up middle
My
right
flood
now.
mid ape dead.
Nice.
I'm
Simp was dead. Outer, behind Dick Dog.
Top fire, top fire.
Yeah,
Top
behind
fire.
Dick
Top
Dog.
fire. Good job. Another one top fire. He jumped out middle.
He's on
Nick
time.
Rock
One's
dead?
with you. One's with you. He's on me there side.
I'm
Got
trying to middle
him.
right now.
He's their side, you.
Could be
Mike,
percent. You got
I'll tell
me. Wait,
You're the best.
you trying.
Got him on middle.
Nice,
Got
good
one on
fucking
middle.
shit.
Good
Three,
job.
three,
Good job.
Could be there. Out on me.
Hop on this side.
Hybrid
Hop on
middle.
this
Hybrid middle.
I
second.
bet. I'm gonna.
I got him on it.
Top fire. Top fire. Oh, tower's going around. It looks
One
like.
team tree.
Okay, I'll
One shot. MC. Child got trees. One shot.
Nading him. Nading over. Nading over.
TK. Alex
Nading
there.
over.
needing outer.
Alex was outer.
He's in church.
Guys. All right, we're down 20.
He hit. Spawn trap me.
Hold the
Simp
back.
in the
Hold the
back.
back.
One shot in the back
We're
dead.
gonna, we spawned out.
Spawned
I
out.
mean, we already have a guy in the back. We're just
Right.
trying to go through roll.
Okay, go through all them.
Okay,
Go through all
okay,
them.
okay.
Coming in.
A little bit of
It's only aBeZy who can answer back. Fantastic stuff from Asim, and when you see more things like that from this man. Locking down Patio. Hook's gonna find 3 as well off cam. Fantastic. Maybe even thinking about rotating over towards P3 here.
doing a really good job to hold it. Obviously, they have got the back spawn. They know Arsenic is going to be P5. Still holding this one, LAG. Eventually taken down by Simp, but there are players. The rotation is going to be telling. LAG can cinch this away. I'll be right back into this game, but FaZe have looked godlike so far.
Good work from LAG, but is that deficit just a little bit too much pricey? It's now down to 60. It was about, what, 110, 120 at one stage. So they have turned this around somewhat, but was the damage already done? This P3 hole from FaZe last time around was very, very good. It's not looking good this time. No, LAG going to find a way through. It's only aBeZy who's left inside.
Easy backs up, waits for his team. Looking for it as Sim holds down tiles as well. A lot of good positioning here for LAG. They've just got to hold against the pressure that's now coming, and already you can see FaZe getting back into it. Hugh finds one, goes for it as well. Takes down aBeZy, and Gunless with the unfortunate team nade rips him out of that hill. But he is going to get straight back in. And already you can see this is going to be a hold for them. Minimap says Hugh already going to try and get around the back of Church. They have clawed this back every inch, Ton.
And even actually towards the end there, though, the things you hear to see if you're LAG is the fact that FaZe can find one final kill over towards the Alt and rip 10 points away from you. That's a 20 swing in the favor of FaZe there. It would have been a very more kind scoreline heading over towards Church, but as it goes now, FaZe 20 points away. This seems trying to play for your streaks, but if I'm honest, brother, you need to try and play it to stay in the series right now.
Oh no, the nade hits him. It's all gone wrong. Last time around, Church was all FaZe, and it's looking like the same sort of hold. They just cannot get through them.
Spawns at the back.
Eventually, a couple of kills going in, and it will be LAG who break. Abezy and Simp, though, teaming up, and it will be Asim who walks away with it. A break they desperately needed to make.
FaZe now 8 points away. You don't need much. It's looking like they are going to try a break over towards the Church side because they know LAG, they have to hang around for these scrap points. But how many have they sent over towards P5? Here comes push now from FaZe with 8 seconds to go. They can't win it here. Hook and Asim have done good enough job, and Hook will find a second. Rotation over towards P5 belongs to LAG.
Dangerous
the final
game there
couple
from
of
LAG.
seconds. Yeah,
Dangerous game.
Very dangerous. And now it's
Sent
actually only
Gunless.
Slasher left on his own.
They sent Gunless over here early, and somehow they've lost the rotation. It's going to be over. They played a dangerous game. They bet all their cards, and it's gone wrong. And a FaZe, they regained completely. The cards, they were not having a good time, but the rest of it is the FaZe, the Bocage.
No, and honestly, I think the Bocage is maybe going to start to be concerned for FaZe. It used to be a go-to. They're absolutely fine. We'll take that one against anybody all day long, but last 2 times you lose it is not characteristic for the side of FaZe, but they will get the job done against LAG to find the win, no doubt. I would have probably presumed they would have been a bit happier if it was a little bit cleaner, though.
I think it was a little bit of a bad day yesterday because that looked about as good as most FaZe games we've seen this year. Obviously, the hard point wasn't about them, but Cellium was back to frying. Right, like Cellium was back to much better from FaZe. I will say I think LAG maybe a little bit slow in hitting things like Church. They just really couldn't get that one going at all.
Yeah.
But definitely a game of 2 different sides. After that first hard point, I was wondering if the FaZe curse was real. If they really had dropped that far that quickly. Turns out no. Little blip on the radar maybe.
Maybe just a blip. But it's the kind of game that would have looked simple for the side of FaZe. In the end, yeah, okay, mostly. But I think that Bocage will sting a little bit. Fantastic search and destroy out of them. A very standard Gavutu control. It was just the start from Atlanta FaZe there. What was it, 51 points, 52 points on P1? Immediately, LAG were never that close again. Never. The closest they were
back into that game. They were not having a good time. They got back into that game pretty substantially. I want to talk about that last push as well. In Church, they left 3 players to hold off the assault. They only had 8 seconds to lose. If they had lost those trades in any significant manner, that would have been game over on Church. They sent Gunless all the way to P5 ready for that rotation.
By the way, Ten, we heard what you said about Teskin, but Bryce, I got to ask you, when LAG won that hard point, were you guys low-key saying to yourselves, it's going to happen again, it's going to happen again, what's going on?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. It didn't look like a good day for FaZe, but then they phased up on us, so.
Right, and they walked away with a big win. Thank you guys so much.
You guys still think FaZe isn't a top 3 team? Isn't looking good? I just got to ask you. I'm just wondering.
How do you
Answer
turn
the
around with that
question.
static right now? Okay, I think FaZe is a top 3 team. I think they're beatable, though. LAG, okay, a team that's been struggling. Let's be honest. LAG has not had the best stage at all. That was actually a good game from LAG.
Can we
I'm not even mad about that.
People
boss.
panic a little bit and get better. They can bounce back at any point. This is a great team.
Wait, but I know I don't stand alone in this, that when we're watching Atlanta FaZe play, when Cellium is not positive, this team looks like, or it is always on Cellium.
It's
if
not
Cellium is
simply on
negative,
Cellium.
he went negative that both series. They get 3-0 smacked around. You head into the Gavutu. He goes positive. He goes 24 and 17 in the Tuscan, and they win convincingly.
It doesn't come down to simply Cellium going positive for this team to win. It comes down to pressure. When you look at that bow cage, the pressure wasn't there. The breaks weren't coming in. We look at the search and destroy. It was really Arcene's for me picking up the first. Defense looked way better. The play that they made in the very last defense where they simply gave up A, flanked all the way around to converge on them and to secure that round, that was beautiful.
They're
That's
7-3 in control. We expected a good control.
I have a question for the both of you
great team.
So I see both sides right now. Nameless, you're asking us basically, like instigating us, do you think they're a top 3 team? Okay, this is the thing is, we're not saying that FaZe are bad. FaZe aren't average and they're not terrible at all. They're a great team. But the thing is, they're the most beatable great team in this game right now, especially compared to a team like Optic Texas.
Well, they're number 1 in the standings, so realistically, they're not the most beatable great team in the game.
They're, all right, who have they lost to? Who they got second?
I mean, they have a decent amount of losses, but they don't have as many as most other teams that we have in the league. They have some hard counters when you look at Optic Texas. But no one's saying they're bad. Optic Texas is certainly the best team in the game, but FaZe, top 3 team. They lose some matches. People panic way too quick. They are going to bounce back.
I don't recall ever saying they weren't a top 3 team. It's just the fact that they aren't as high tier as we expected them to be heading into this year. And then what is the issue? What is the problem? Why isn't Atlanta FaZe this dynasty that we had put on this pedestal for the past 2 years? And now we have a different top team. We have Optic Texas. So now we have to talk about the fact, like, okay, Atlanta FaZe can't beat Optic. They're losing against teams like Rocket. They're losing in grand finals.
People are hitting the panic button. We're just talking about it. I heard both of you guys say you don't know if they're a top 3 team right now. It's certain that they're a top 3 team. That performance shows it. The performance over the first 2 majors has shown that it's on a hot streak like the Minnesota Rocket does not indicate that they are middle of the pack or that they've completely
hot streak or not.
It just indicates they have to fix a couple things. They're making some changes, and we've seen it. They implemented it in this series.
We can say that about a lot of teams, but at the end of the day, when your expectations are from what we've seen years prior, okay? No one's saying FaZe is bad, but if you're unable to win events, you're unable to beat Texas, you're unable to win majors when the odds are in your favor, such as Los Angeles Gorillas, you can't sit there and be like Patty Price talking about they're the best team in the game. That's just lying. You're just going off of just bias at that point. The thing is,
that the community is panicking a little bit too much.
It's not panicking. It's expectations of winning events versus not winning events.
We've had 2 events. There's 3 events left. They can still win an event.
Oh, so that's the future. That's the unknown. But also what we do, yeah. All right, so Scuff played the game. We have an aBeZy, Ninja Diffuse, and Search and Destroy, where aBeZy was able to get a little sneaky on them.
Honestly, I'm just happy to see the improvements in S&D that they've been talking about since the beginning of the year. This is a game mode that they struggled in across the board, and then they come into this Desert Siege, they win it 6-1. I mean, it was absolutely dominant across the board. Like Nameless said, it was on the top of Arcades, getting all of those first bloods, right? I saw a lot of aggression out of aBeZy. He looks incredibly comfortable on this Desert Siege, and to make that call to just go for that defuse, knowing Arcades was close desert on him to watch over, it was just a great play.
I love you guys so much. We actually have a Game Fuel victory spotlight with aBeZy. Let's get up on the screen. aBeZy, great win right there. My question to you is, with that being your last game of the season, what are things Atlanta FaZe are really trying to tweak on in order to secure a big win when it comes to Major 3? Not second place, not third place. We're talking about the #1 spot.
I mean, I think going into this match, you know, we really wanted to bring the passion back. I feel like that's been our core issue this year so far. We haven't had that passion like we did the past couple of years. And this match, we brought that passion. We were getting hype. We were just like, every time we would shit on someone, we would just, you know, get super hyped. So that's like the core issue, in my opinion, of what has been going on like behind the scenes and whatever. But you know, we're gonna get back on track for the rest of the season. So.
And Tyler, I feel like that's incredibly typical on you. We actually got a call listen in during that when that was happening, and it was you going dead, like trying to get everybody's energies up. So, I mean, tipping my hat to you for that, because that is what you need. You need somebody in comms to try to keep everybody's confidence up in that type of series. And I also wanted to ask you about the role change of Cellium and Arcades. It feels like maybe that's where some of that uncomfortability on the map has started to grow since you have decided to make that decision. Do you think the possibility of maybe switching that up come Major 3 is in talks?
I don't think so. I mean, obviously we're working behind the scenes, upcoming major.
aBeZy, I want to ask you guys, you know, and Search and Destroy has been the greatest year thus far for you guys. Looking better throughout this stage, though, in that game mode. We've seen you guys change the sniper over to Arcades running it. Why isn't Chris running the sniper simp? Excuse me.
Well, you know, I needed to change up the roles and like the pacing of our team. You know, I feel like because I would have Preston running like alongside me when we were playing S&D, so I had someone there to like trade me out and be with me at all times. And it's kind of hard when 4v4 when I don't have like that person with me, and making Alec do that is gonna make him super uncomfortable. So that was like the biggest issue. And I feel like having Chris run alongside me was like the best thing that we could have possibly done. So yeah, I think our S&D is getting a lot better.
Hey, yo, aBeZy, the Discover Toronto right around the corner. You probably leave in like a few days, right, or 2 days. All right, so what do you guys say to the fans out there? And give them a little hope. Give them a little riled out for the major to come.
But yeah, I mean, of course, like always, I really appreciate everything you guys, you know, whatever, even if you guys are tweeting bad things to us, whatever, like we understand it because we're obviously, there's times where we go through tough times as well. But honestly, like, you guys see it like in our faces, whatever, like after we lose. So, you know, we're going to do our best to get back on track for you guys.
Yo, by the way, we need to get some CWO vibes there. We need to get like a hot mic or something and just like go just full undisputed first.
I just hear what they really got to say.
Yo, Ant was about to get, he was ready to get live, all right? But also, let's finish up. Let's put just a nail on the head, man. Atlanta FaZe with a big win over the Los Angeles Guerrillas. Close game, albeit, right? Outside of the search and destroy. But also, we're going to see if Atlanta FaZe can get back to their championship form. Ain't that right, Nameless? Because
Shadow in the mix. It's really like anyone's game. Like we have some really, really solid squads that we don't truly know what they're made of until we get to a bracket format. We know what Optic can do. We know what FaZe can do in bracket format on a consistent basis. But some of these other teams, they're looking hot. So make sure you guys pull up to Major 3 in Toronto. It's going to be an epic event. The last two have just been absolutely sensational.
You could join the open bracket, join the Passion Pit, and try your best against some of the biggest names out there as you just go to have fun, play with friends, or try to be one of the best out there in the scene and work your way up to the CDO, because at the end of the day, we all have to start from somewhere, right? Got that right. Coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, we have Toronto versus London. But as we roll out, I do got to say, man, Atlanta FaZe getting that win over the Los Angeles Guerrillas definitely feel good, especially from what we saw yesterday. The likes of aBeZy and R-City's really popping off was what we needed to see. But the question still remains, can Atlanta FaZe come back victorious in this redemption tour of sorts and get even better than second place? Let's see if they can continue that coming up soon after Major 3. We'll see you after this break.